Okay, great. Okay, well, we try to always add an element of business strategy to all of our meetings, and where we're at right now is we're back to the lean startup model, because our philosophy is that your social media and online marketing are only as good as your underlying business strategy. So that's why we keep coming back to it and kind of forcing you to think about it. And we like to use the lean startup model. So if you're new here and haven't, excuse me, yes. Oh, well, it's Nova Home Loans, and then it's Welcome to Nova with an exclamation mark. Though you don't have to be online for our presentation, only if you want to, but it is Welcome to Nova, Welcome to Nova exclamation mark, yeah. Anyway, we use the lean startup business validation model. Lean startup, yeah. And here's the chart again. And this is, not only does this help you plan, as a lot of you already know all this, so I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit, but it's also a business strategy validation tool constantly that you can go back to. So we've already talked about what the problem is that you're solving with your product or service. And then we talked about customer segments. Aaron came in and talked about how you identify your customer, how you interview them, and how you run experiments and change with the information you get back. Unfortunately, I had to leave to go to the airport, so I missed that presentation, but he's an expert at doing that. And then Sharif, last time, talked about what is your unique value proposition. And that is what it is in your business that sets you apart from all your competition, and what is the essence of your product value. Now, usually with this procedure or process, you start with the problem, you go to what customer needs that problem solved, and then you go to the solution. But I had him kind of jump ahead to unique value proposition because he was scheduled to speak last week. So today we're going to talk about the solution, which is your product or your service. And I thought I would give you an example. So one that I'm working on right now, I'm working with Aaron Eden, and be thinking of one that you can share for your business while I'm talking. But we're working on taking that 2-day workshop that he has, and that he's been doing in Intuit for the last year. Tremendous, incredible results with that. And we want to take it to some other big corporations. So I'm kind of helping him develop that business. So the problem that we've identified is the need for innovative corporate growth. And the secondary problem is employee motivation, okay? This is just an example of how we're using this model for this particular business startup. The customer is CEOs and research and development and marketing executives. And these are the kinds of people at corporations, and we're talking Fortune 100 companies, big ones, that would bring in this type of training. The solution is the workshop, which I'll talk more about, but it's the employee-centered model with multiple ideas, and you analyze everything with a disciplined approach. So it's a product, the essence of that product is the ability for the corporation to tap into innovation resources that are already there at the corporation, okay? I'm telling you all this really fast. This has taken a long time to distill. So you don't always automatically get it. What is it? What's the problem? All these different pieces, it takes a while to work it through your mind, talk to people, and bring it all together and be able to communicate it in a distilled way that people understand. The unique value proposition right here, the single, clear, compelling message, we're still working on that, but it's a 2-day jumpstart focused on employee ideas with the structure and discipline to define and understand the viability or potential for success. We need to kind of get that down a bit. The reason I'm doing all this, and you're going through this process, is so that when you're planning your social media, as we'll end up with this posting strategy template, is if you've done all this work ahead of time, it won't be as difficult for you to start writing out what your strategy is, preparing your posts, knowing where you're going to post them, who you want to see them, all of those things. So we're on the strategy, and next week we'll be doing the channels, which will be pretty simple. But to take it one step further than the solution, I'd like to bring in Blue Ocean Strategy. Has anybody read that book? Good. What? Oh, okay. All right. Well, Blue Ocean Strategy, I think it's been around about 6 years. And the way I first heard about it, I was working with a new startup. And the owner of the startup was somebody that consults Raytheon on engineering. And he just kind of gave me a tip. He said, hey, the best book I've ever read about business is Blue Ocean Strategy. And at Raytheon, it's required reading. Everybody has to read it, including anybody they hire as a consultant. So, of course, I had to run right out and get it. But the basic concept of Blue Ocean is that you break out of a red ocean of bloody competition by creating uncontested market space that makes the competition irrelevant. Okay? Say that one more time. Yeah. Break out of the red ocean of bloody competition by creating uncontested market space that makes the competition irrelevant. So, here we go. Here's the red ocean. Here's where most of us are, most of the time, with all the existing competition and existing identified markets. But we have the choice to jump to the blue ocean where it's going to be a whole new market. And a great example of this, and I keep thinking of you, so we'll end up with you, because I think your business, you've done that already. But I think you need to develop a little more, but you have done it already. A great example is Cirque du Soleil. And so if you read the book, it's the first example they use, but they must have, I think, 15 companies that they talk about and how they've done this. So it's really kind of fascinating. But with Cirque du Soleil, it was originally just a little street entertainment thing in Canada that people just saw on the street and they'd throw money to. And they looked at what was going on in the whole industry of circus-type entertainment. And they saw right away that the circuses, that existing competition, if they wanted to duplicate that, circus was a declining industry, declining attendance, declining prices, and the buyers were parents for children. So that doesn't leave a lot of room to move up. There's only so much people are going to want to spend to go to a circus for their child, bring the whole neighborhood or the whole birthday party or whatever. There was also a growing problem from animal rights activists. So that was another concern. That's a great noise. So the positive was that there was a growing amount of talent out there, people that were doing, the gymnastics and more tricks, and they were seeing that the theaters were raising their prices and having great attendance. So how did you bring those elements to the circus? So what they did is they reinvented the circus, which was that was one of their first shows. We reinvented the circus. And they found an entirely new market, which was adults, more sophisticated adults that were looking for entertainment, were looking for something unique, were willing to pay more money, corporate partners. It just developed, and this thing just, you know the story about Cirque du Soleil. I mean, it's just huge now and great profit margins and all that. So instead of competing in a red ocean with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, they created a whole new blue ocean by realigning the circus / entertainment concept. Let's see. How about an example from one of us? These are questions I'd like you to ask yourself. Are you in a red ocean? If so, how do you find your blue ocean? And it's not just about competitive edge, but it's a whole new market. So my idea with Chris is that I think you've developed a whole new market of people that don't normally go to a counselor for self-help in this area by doing your workshops, because you're attracting people like me who I wouldn't normally go, but because of the group dynamics and the structure that you provide, it's really a whole new product, in my opinion, which gives me a great choice from just calling up a counselor and saying, can I come see you for an hour? I don't know, that's just I'm not putting it really well. Maybe you can probably put it better than I can. Do you want to try?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
In my workshops, they are unique.
Yeah.
And a safe environment as well too. And it's like mine. It's really good.
But you're attracting. I think you're attracting the people that don't want to go and delve into all of their, memories and injustices in their past and all of the deep stuff, and bring out all that hurt and then work through it very slowly, one-on-one. It's totally different. It's like going in and getting a structure of how can I cope with the situation. So to me, that's a, yeah.
And I give you simple, easy tools that you can utilize. So you can do that stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, and my target market is really women, but open men that are open to doing work. Sometimes men have to do that.
Yes.
Nothing against that, but I know it's
Mike's laughing.
More men are being attracted to it. So
Yeah, you are getting more men. Yeah.
And it's nice to see the combination, and I will tell you, it really is refreshing to see them.
Yeah.
Be honest enough in the moment.
Yeah, they add a lot to it too. So then I started thinking about Barb, because in some ways you guys are in the red ocean together because you have similar businesses. I know you define them differently, and you've defined your target market differently. But just from my perspective, and I don't know you as well as I know Chris, you've got kind of I think a blue ocean going, or possibility, because of the groups you do that they've got some kind of you can say it better than I can, but some kind of a sadness or transition they have to go through because of divorce or death, or is that correct? Or maybe that's just.
I was in the language of turmoil, rather than transition. It's interesting, but the target market that I want to target, I think it's in the
Uh-huh.
and it's although I will do short-term work, for longer-term groups, build a community of women, because one of the things that's coming out is that women are very lonely.
And yes, feel isolated, which, yeah.
So there's, this is such fun thing that has really emerged over the last couple of years. I'm so lonely. I don't have friends that I can share with. Well, one of the things that happens over time is in the last week that I had, they still live.
They became very close. Yeah, and that's how our group is too. We'll still have lunch before we go to this great example. If you could, next week, I would love to hear from anybody else. We don't have time right now, but if you are thinking that you've got a little twist or you've modified your business idea, and Sherry, you'd be a great one for that, I think. I think there's a blue ocean that you've identified, but I'm not myself familiar enough with your product to help you define it. So, but maybe next week you could share that. We're just going to take 5 minutes, Mike. Is it okay if I take 5 more minutes? Okay. And then we're going to get to Mike with Business Facebook. If you would go to the Post Strategy Blueprint, which was a handout, and this is a download on the membership site. If you're not a member or have any difficulty, let me know, and I'll just send it to you as an attachment. So that what you can do is use this over and over again, and you can type in your answers. So I just want to, I'm going to come back to this next week. I just want to give you an example of how to use it. The first thing you need to do is, it's the answer to the question in the introduction, which is, what is your call to action? What product or service are you promoting? And with some of you, I think you need to get a little more specific, because we're talking about driving to something more specific than, well, I guess that's a good enough way to say it. So I had written in, just using the Lean Startup workshops, I want to raise awareness that we are offering Lean Startup workshops, basically. So probably that should be more specific. I haven't myself even completely filled this out. I started yesterday, and I thought, ooh, okay, I need to really work on this. Number 2, who do you want these posts to reach? And if you know that, then what are the platforms? So because I had already said my customer is CEOs, R&D executives, and marketing executives of Fortune, I think I said Fortune 100 companies, but it's probably Fortune 500 companies. It's LinkedIn. I mean, that's just so obvious that it's LinkedIn. Then the third thing is knowing that information, write or prepare 2 posts on each topic below that are related to that product. So I got it started, recent success. And this actually took me some time, so I have to warn you. Last 4 Lean Startup workshops have produced 10 new business ideas that are being actively pursued. and put a link. And my another one was Lean Startup Innovations have generated 8 figures. It's actually 9 figures in new revenue for Intuit. Unbelievable. In just 1 year. So, I mean, that's all going to go in our marketing material too. Trivia or statistics. I'm trying to think of what CEOs or high-level management people would want to hear. And this could go onto Twitter, but I wouldn't use Twitter for this particular product. But most of them you will. Did you know that Steve Jobs attributes much of his, and then I put a hashtag, innovation, success to a calligraphy class he took in college? Number 2, companies that invest 10% in R&D and hashtag innovation. I probably could put a hashtag in front of R&D too. Grow 10%, 20% more per year than companies that don't. So they get twice the return on their money. Now, if it goes on Twitter, I have to jazz that up and make it a little more fun and interesting. So then there's the funny ones that you can think of that relate to your product. I really didn't think of anything for the workshops. Ask questions. One I had was, does your company have an entrepreneurial mindset? What do you do to encourage innovation and new ideas? So that just kind of gives you a start on how to do that. And then you prepare, you think about using all that content to then do videos, do a blog post where you really expand upon it, put in your links, and then I've given post timing here on number 6. So for me, it's just going to be LinkedIn for this particular one, so I do 2 posts per week. And I'd also probably follow up with some Facebook posts, a little bit of that. Photos, videos, and all that. If I was going to do Twitter, I would stagger my tweets the way I've got this little pattern here. Okay, so Monday, trivia, and then you always do something to interact, which a lot of us here are not doing. Just a reminder. What? Yeah, so either reply or retweet. Just look for something so you can interact with somebody. Humor the next day, a special offer, question, so you can see it all here. And if you could maybe take what you answered with and give this a start, okay? I would really appreciate it. And then if you have any questions during the week, let me know. But just bring how much you've done. So I think the next time you do it will be faster. But this first time, it's going to take a while. So some of you masterminds, it's probably going to be faster for you because you've been doing a lot of this already. So thank you very much. And we did have homework. If you can fill out that strategy blueprint like I asked you to, do a written description of how your solution solves the identified problem of the identified market. That was our strategy from Lean Startup today. And then extra credit, define extra credit. I don't know what you'll get for extra credit, but define a blue ocean that you can address.